take him, this is our time. Just breathe, this won't be a hard fight. The truth cash out in the night.
All right. How's it going, everybody? It's another Wednesday. Yep, a little bit of a schedule change. We're doing it on a Wednesday instead of a Thursday or a Friday, due to Johnny's kids having, different school activities and ball practice, stuff like that, So we schedule on Wednesday. Hopefully Johnny will pop in here as soon as possible. But other than that, it is going to be a great show. We're going to have a good time tonight. Not a lot going on in my world as far as Bigfoot. Of course, doing all my research and looking at things and stuff. Hey, Leonard, how you doing, buddy? Lenny is our man. He's always here. He's a good guy. I haven't had an opportunity to get in the woods as of late. New work schedule, new job, everything else. So I've been pretty busy with that. So, getting people trained and put in the right position so I can get more time off and do what I need to do. So I hope everybody had a great Valentine's weekend. Those of you that have a significant other that you like to spend time with, mine was nice. Enjoyed it. Let's see here. What else do we have going on? Not a whole lot. I know Johnny does. That's why I was hoping Johnny would jump in at the beginning because he's got a lot going on. Hey, Day Tripper, how you doing? Good to see you again. And Johnny, him and his team have hit a new location and did their first team get together to do some research. So I was really excited to hear if they've seen or found or whatever was going on there. So. But hopefully he'll pop in and we can get all caught up and stuff like that. So tonight's guest is Carl. He's from Louisiana, and good guy. Some of you probably see him in the past. He's been on some interviews way back when, especially if you ever followed Bigfoot Odyssey with Carrie Arnold. He was on that show. He was also on Drawing Bigfoot, which we'll get into. Which was a neat aspect of Bigfoot Odyssey, where they would bring an eyewitness on to describe what they saw, and then you would have Mr. Batson would draw it, with an overhead camera, so you could see him as he's drawing, and he would draw what they described. So, Carl was on that as well, so we'll be able to look at that drawing and get an idea of what he saw and stuff like that. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Carl on, and we'll get started. Hey, Carl, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Richard, how's it going?
Good. How's the weather there in Louisiana?
Partly muggy.
Is it cold?
No, it's cool at night, but it right now it's getting up to 79, 80 degrees. The humidity's starting to creep back in.
Oh yeah, that's how it is in Florida. It's in the upper 50s at night when I'm at work, but it warms up to the 80s during the day, so it's really nice during the day. So yeah, and usually I do this thing when I come home, and I come in, and the first thing I do is I let the chickens out. I open up the coop and let the chickens out. So they get to roam the property and stuff like that, free meals, bugs, stuff like that. They're good chickens. And they were going off today, keeping me up because I didn't let them out. Because yesterday, the neighbor's dog killed my chickens.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, came in the yard and attacked and killed some chickens. And so there's a little battle going on there. And I had a really, really big rooster. What is it called? It's called a Brahma. And so it's really large, and it has the looks like it's wearing boots. It's got a lot of feathers on the feet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Real pretty, dark gray and black, and just really, really pretty. And he destroyed that rooster.
You got him.
So, yeah. So today they stayed in the pen. I wasn't letting them out in case that dog's roaming again. So other than
I
that, that was
don't
the only.
blame.
Yeah, I mean I called animal control, complained, but they really can't do anything. To be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
it'd be a that really it's us to continuously videotape or take pictures or whatever to verify that the dog is in our yard before they'll start penalizing and fining. And but the quick solution was if the dog's in the yard and it is attacking your animals, you do have the right to dispatch that animal. I'm not
Oh,
big
really?
on yeah. I'm not big on hurting any animals. It's just not my
Mm-hmm.
thing. So I'd rather not go that route. But I can't continue to see the chickens get killed either. So, but
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. But that's about the excitement of my week. So
well, hopefully you can get that sorted out where you're not losing chickens every day.
yeah, we have a normal fence. It's a I don't know. It's a fence with a strand of barbed wire across the top, but it's probably about I don't know 4 feet, 4.5 feet tall, and that dog jumps the entire fence.
Damn.
Yeah, jumps the whole thing.
Really?
So keeping him out of the yard is now, like I told them, is not my responsibility. Well, we have a fenced in property. It's what else can I do? See what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So crazy. Hey Sharon, good to see you.
Well, I mean, just imagine if it was a kid back there and that dog, I mean, would jump the fence and go after a kid. I mean,
Yeah,
what would happen then?
yeah. It's crazy. So hopefully they'll do something about it. Hopefully the neighbors will wise up and say okay, because I mean it's even though I'm out here in the country and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
the county still doesn't allow your dogs to roam free. So,
Right.
so they got to have it on the leash or something like that, or in a fenced in on their property. So I don't know what they're gonna do. We'll see what happens. We'll play it by ear. So let's go back, okay? Because it's been a few years since I've seen your interview, and so let's go back to when it all started. When you felt that you started to have something going on that you were investigating.
Well, I guess the first thing I had noticed, and to be honest, what I saw was I kept seeing black shapes in my backyard, and they would move so fast, and I seriously thought I had something with my eyes. I was seeing something, or like, God forbid, I'm having a brain tumor or something. I mean, it's like I couldn't explain it, and it was just I just wrote it off. I'm tired. I've been working all day, and I might have floaters in my eyes. I don't know if you
Right.
know what that is, but
Oh yeah.
so okay. And I never could pinpoint one thing. I mean, like, well, I'm seeing all this movement, and it's big enough where I should be able to see something move. I mean, actually get a visual on it. But it was so fast that it was just black shadows. I'm like, is this property cursed? What's going on here? Until I think it was December 4th, 2018. Came home. I was just throwing a rope with my dogs. I had two. I had one German Shepherd and one half Malinois mix Shepherd. And when I come home before I fed them, I throw the rope to them, and they love to go get it and bring it back to me. And just by chance, I just noticed like they would always approach me from the front, but in this case, they were coming around me and almost like they were trying to avoid something. And I didn't really understand like what was happening until I looked down and I saw this big, I'm gonna call it a greasy footprint. And my mind automatically went to, oh, this is a I knew it wasn't my foot. I knew it wasn't my son's foot because it was way too big. And I thought, well, somebody might be coming in our backyard. At this time, we didn't have any security cameras or anything. It's like, why would somebody come in our backyard? I mean, what are they doing here? We live in a neighborhood. I mean, people watch, look out for each other. But then I want to say the only way I can explain it is craziness started happening. Like the house kept getting hit with, I'm assuming rocks, because I found several rocks in my yard that I have no idea, and little chunks of cement. So I told my wife about it, and she's like, "Oh, you're just imagining things." I was like, "Okay, whatever." But then again, she would tell me, looking back on it, sometimes when I work late or I would just go out with the boys, maybe shoot pool or whatever. When I come home, she said, "Carl," she said, "somebody's walking in the attic." I'm like, "Rachel, nobody's walking in the attic. It's the middle of August in Louisiana. You would die.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't stay up there 5 minutes." And she would tell me that all the time. Of course, I would go up there and look, thinking it was a raccoon, squirrel, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and never found anything. So that's kind of what tipped me off. I saw the footprint, and for some reason, it bothered me. Like, well, either somebody's coming in my yard or something else is going on. So I went on YouTube, and I don't even know why I had this inclination, because I was not a Bigfoot guy. Saw it a couple. And matter of fact, the first Bigfoot video I ever saw was on WWL TV in New Orleans. It was the Honey Island Swamp Monster.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that video before I saw the Patterson Gimlet, and it scared the hell out of me because I was like 3 or 4 years old. So I got on YouTube, found Carrie Arnold, thank God, and I started sending these pictures. So like, "Carrie, what sounds like a little bit about this subject. What what is this?" And he came back 5 minutes. "Carl, I think that's a skunk ape." I was like, "Carrie, what the hell is a skunk ape?"
Mm-hmm.
Because I had never heard that term in my life. Now, down here in Louisiana, we have what they call the rougarou and the loup-garou. So that's always been legends, passed down from your grandmothers and grandfathers. And, you can go back to the 1400s in the Times-Picayune paper in New Orleans and see accounts of these things. So, and we always thought it was some kind of tactic our parents or grandparents would use. "Hey, you need to get inside before it gets dark because the rougarou is going to get you." Okay, well, what does the rougarou even look like? No description. Just like I said, I think it was just, "Hey, you kids need to get in the house. We're going to use something to get them in here." And that was it, because it was a Louisiana lore for, hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, and now you do know what a rougarou is and the description of it.
Well, yes. And a lot of people are confused by this. A rougarou is basically a definition for a monster.
Mm.
Now, a loup-garou is a werewolf, which would tie into what people see and call a dog man.
Right.
So there's actually two definitions of it, and how they came up with two definitions. I mean, to me, they're both monsters. All of them are monsters. So
Oh yeah.
I I don't know why they just couldn't use one rougarou, loup-garou. But I mean, my mom was from France and married my dad and moved here. So in Europe, that's a real thing.
Yeah, and I've told people that it's a big thing over there, not so big over
Exactly.
here, and which is kind of confusing sometimes. Where the whole dog man thing started coming about hasn't been that long. See what I'm
Hmm.
saying? In
Right.
the 2000s, it is when it you know became this thing, and for 50 years of Bigfoot research in different groups and stuff like that, that was never a topic. It never came up. It was never a sighting. There was never nothing. It was always Bigfoot. It was always,
Yes.
in the Pacific Northwest, or the skunk ape in the down south and stuff like that. It wasn't Dogman, Bigfoot. You know, sometimes we thought maybe misidentified, but then it became this whole subculture of Dogman, Dogman. You know what I mean? Um, so it's interesting. It's interesting how things take off and grow. But it is more of a European thing than it is a U.S. thing.
Right.
Absolutely.
And New Orleans was basically settled by the French and the
Hmm.
Spanish. So I mean, I don't know if they
Correct.
brought that with them, and they just it was ingrained in the people here. But I mean, there's so many reports here of people seeing them. I mean, it's
Oh yeah,
whether
yeah.
where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah, and when you introduce a new culture, you're going to be introduced to their beliefs and their folklore and everything else.
Right.
Because that's what they believe in. That's what they define as what's going on. Um, it's just the way it is. I mean, Native Americans talk about different things, especially skinwalkers and stuff like that. So that folklore continues on.
Right. And you see, before this, I had seen, like, back in the day in the 70s, Bigfoot shows and stuff like. But I was the type of person that if there were aliens, one had to land in my front yard, and I had to see it. Well, I kind of changed my attitude on that whole thing. I mean, once
Right.
it happened to me, I was like, you know, and it makes you wonder, like, it throws you off axis because you're saying, okay, this is what we've been told all our life. Well, I just saw something that is not supposed to exist, you know, uh,
Well,
and
let's.
so have many other people.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's one of those things. It's to be a knower, it usually falls into the category of having an experience with one of these things. So.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's probably why people here watching the show, they either had an experience or they're very interested in the subject, which is good because my wife didn't want to go public with it. I was like, Rachel, we have kids that wait at the bus stop, in the dark this time of year. And what if one of these things approach them and, snatches one off? And because I heard a bunch of stories. That's when I did the deep dive into it. But then I told you about the African American tribe, not African American, Native American tribe local here that I worked with a guy. He was actually in the tribe and he let me talk to some of the, I would call elders. And because the only reason I was having an issue with them, other than that, he said they would never ever talk to you about it. But I mean, like I told you the other day, I mean, they recognize these things. A dog is a dog, a bear is a bear, a deer is a deer,
Hmm.
and some of them even use the name Sukalu. I don't know if you ever heard that term, Sukalu.
No.
That's more mid Louisiana, around the Kostashie National Forest, around that area. They use that term. Here, it's a Rougarou or a Loup-garou, whatever you want to put to it, whatever you saw. But there's a little different, I guess, culture when you get
Right.
maybe mid Louisiana.
Well, let's talk about your sighting. Let's talk about that moment that changed everything.
Well, up to that point, I mean, it was all speculation. I mean, I didn't know exactly for sure, like 100%. But
Right.
one day I had a doctor's appointment, and they were working on a road that led to my house, the normal way I would travel. So I had to take a back road, which hardly anybody takes because it's all beat up from sugarcane trucks, and I mean, so I had to take that way. So we have here what we call coolies. It's basically a way to get the water out because you live in Florida, I mean, you're below sea level, so you have to, when it rains 3 or 4 inches, you have to get that water out some way. So, I mean, some of them could be 20 foot deep, some of them could be 30 foot deep, and they kind of take a life of their own. Trees will grow, they'll have swings and turns. So I'm coming home on that back road, which butts up to my subdivision, and I'm going through a patch of long grass because there was a big open field, then there was a coulee, then there's a bunch of trees. So I see something black running. My initial thought was a dog. It's a big black dog running, which, oh, by the way, I had a big black dog. So I'm thinking to myself, oh Lord, my dog has got out. And you know how you have that feeling when you're driving, you see a squirrel, you see a kid on a bike. You said, if I don't slow down, I'm gonna hit this kid or hit this squirrel. So that's what I did. And I cleared a little bunch of trees. And the next thing I know, this thing is running. It's running. And once I got the first really good look at it, because when I first saw it, like I said, I thought it was a dog. Now it's a person running. And if they're running, they're all dressed in black, which is not a good idea because it was about this time, almost dusk, And I kept getting closer to it. And I was like, something's not right. Just the motion. I always explain it as a cartoonish motion. The legs, remember those Scooby-Doo where they would run like that? And the arms, I explained this to you before, but were straight down and they would just swing back and forth like this, not pumping like a distance runner or a sprinter. And I was like, what is that? And it finally got close enough to me, and I got close enough to it, and it looked at me. It raised its head and looked right at me, and I couldn't believe my eyes for a second. I think my brain had to reboot itself because I'm like, this thing looks like a damn caveman. And then after because when you see something like that, to me, your brain just goes into neutral. You're trying to process it. You don't know what's going on. You've never seen anything like that before, except on videos and stuff. And so I'm trying to process all this. By the way, I'm doing like 35 miles an hour. And when it looks at me, it does what an Olympic athlete couldn't do. It's running in a straight line on top of the coulee, almost like a levee in Florida, and it automatically takes a 90-degree right turn, goes down about 20, 25 foot. Now, keep in mind, there's big chunks of riprap, which is cement they put in the washes, the turns, to keep it from washing out. This thing ran down into the coulee and ran underneath a cement culvert and never missed a beat, never slipped, never paused, just in one motion, just zoom, like a bottle rocket.
Wow.
Pure black, black as night. The only thing I can compare it to is if you ever seen a raven sitting on a telephone pole or fence, that black where it changes into a purplish blue looking color. It's so black. That's exactly what it
like
looked
an
like.
oil slick.
Yes. And so everything I've ever seen, which to me would signify a Bigfoot, it looked nothing like it. Looked like a caveman in the face. And it was tall. I'd say probably 6'4" to 6'6". And it was tall and wiry like a basketball player. Ripped now. I mean, muscular. But it didn't look like Patty. It didn't look like some of these other videos, which that may be the case down here. I mean, that's
Right.
maybe what they look like.
Well, and that's a good segue to go into when you were asked to come on and do the Bigfoot drawing,
Mm-hmm.
you were able to describe what you saw, and and you had the opportunity for somebody who way more skilled than myself to draw Bigfoot.
Yeah, both of us.
Yeah, and God bless his soul, he did pass away.
Hmm.
Been a couple years now though. But I'll put that picture up here if you want to discuss it here. This was the drawing
Right.
of what you saw.
So let me pick this apart. Okay. So uh, what we've always heard or seen was the Sasquatch, big, whatever you want to call them, have conical shaped heads. This one didn't. This one had a swept back head, like a round head, and the hair, you can see the hairline, it's swept back. There was no conical shape to it. And what I tried to get across to him was the expression he made when I saw him and he saw me, almost like a shocked look, like, oh crap. You know, I have no reason why he would do that. But the key feature is on this thing, look at the eyes on this thing. He got those eyes 100% right. That was the most eeriest thing about it, the eyes. I mean, they just look black, like
Yeah,
like an alien.
yeah, very deep set.
Deep set, big, and to me, what I've measured on video, and you'll show that video later probably. I mean, these things, my face from ear to ear, I measured it was 7.5 inches. This thing, which popped over my fence, was probably about 15 inches. So double what my head is.
Right.
And it looked like a basketball. That's how big the head on this thing was.
Yeah, let's because you mentioned the fence thing, so let's explain that. You had a you keep cameras outside to monitor your property.
Well, we at first we didn't. We never had any security cameras. I talked to Carrie Arnold and he said, you know what you need to do? You need to put up a nanny cam. And he said, don't change anything. Keep your normal routine. Go outside, do what you do, and just let the nanny cam run. Well, we actually started getting things on the nanny cam. So we upgraded to you've been hearing this a lot. Everybody's following you, a Nest Cam, which is a really, really good camera because it doesn't have infrared. It has a night mode.
Right.
And most of those videos you see are from what they call night mode or dog mode. That's what I had it on.
Okay. And on this particular evening is when you caught something that was looking over the fence.
Well, the before you play the video, I'll give you a little explanation of it. I was dead asleep. I was probably I think it's like 3:30 in the morning, and I wake up to this horrendous noise, and I have no idea what's going on. It sounded like a cross between a train and a airplane and something else coming through my backyard. So I get up, I hear all this. I get up in my backyard. The camera is right underneath my window from my backyard. So I get up, I hear my dogs going crazy, my big dog, and I'll open the curtains and I'm looking like, is somebody in my backyard? What is going on? And all of a sudden I feel it before I hear it. It felt like something just took that finger, just boom, bumped me right in the chest. Then all of a sudden the window starts shaking and I start feeling like boom, 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 almost like heart palpitations. And keep in mind now, I haven't heard the first noise except my dog going off. Then it hit me like a tsunami. It built up slow and just, I mean,
Right.
it. And the most interesting part about that video is the dog's reaction, and I have those pants hanging in the tree. Whenever it starts going off, it starts swinging, and whenever it stops, they come to a stop. Only thing I can think of is sound waves.
Right.
So, I mean, And
We'll play the video then first. Now
okay,
this is a video from that camera, so your dogs react to something being out there. So
right.
when you guys are watching this, please just like I said, pay attention. There is a lot of dog barking because they are excited about something being there.
Well,
It,
let me explain one thing, because this has always been a, a little confusion. So where the camera is, that's my actual house. The little house to the next was what we call the outdoor kitchen, or my dad used to live there. It's like a little apartment. Then you have just a shed in the backyard. People thought the little apartment was my house. No,
no.
it was, the camera was facing, that way.
Oh no, I could watch it and tell that was just a shed.
Right.
That was not your house.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
like,
All right, so let's play that so everybody can hear. Now this is the audio. Your dogs react, and
let's warn people, because I played it for a lot of people, and people who have dogs, they find it really disturbing,
mhm.
and so do I. And since that night happened, we never kept them outside again. We always locked them up. Inside in
Right,
the kennels.
right.
So
All right, here we go.
so that yeah, there it is. I mean,
Yeah, it's difficult because the dogs are definitely reacting, but if you kind of
that's
piece those out, you can hear a distinctive something separate.
right. And when I did that show for the Travel Channel, I talked to their biologist, and he listened to it, and he said there's nothing on record that matches this. I'm talking about in the whole United States. And he said, especially in Louisiana, he said, I can't match this up with anything. And he said, I can tell you this, your dogs are scared as hell. So what would scare, two dogs that bad? I I'll leave it up to conjecture. You can make, like my wife used to have a famous saying, we catch what we catch, we put it up, and it's for you to determine what it is.
Right, right. So now you know something's going on. So now you're paying more attention to your video. Now you're
Right.
watching video, you're paying attention, and so the second one, which is very creepy. I mean, there's
Yes.
definitely something there. Um, so we'll play that, and then you can explain everything about what went on with this. Okay.
Okay.
So this is pretty interesting. So everybody pay attention, because if you watch the first video, you see that tree in the background, and there's a 6-foot privacy fence. That's the
Right.
area that we're focused on in this video, which is pretty interesting.
People used to rationalize this kind of stuff. Big thing that clued us in was on December 4th. I came home from work to feed my dogs, and I found this 17-inch human-looking footprint underneath the patio. I just knew it wasn't my foot, my son's foot. So I got in touch with a guy who does this kind of stuff, researching, and he told me right away. He says, I think that's a skunk ape trap. A skunk ape trap. This obviously worries Carl. So he positions a security camera on top of his dog's kennel, thinking that whatever was in his yard will eventually come back. And sure enough, watch as what appears to be a head with 2 eyes pops up over the fence between the tree and the shed. reviews the footage. He's terrified. Because the fence is 6 foot boards and is 2 inches off the ground. So anything above that fence is automatically going to be 6 foot 2.
Whatever we see poking its head over the other side has got to be massive. We're talking 70 feet here. It's certainly something that's within the size capabilities of a Bigfoot or even a skunk ape or a swamp ape, for that matter.
And that's not all. On another night, the camera captures the...
That's where it got into the audio.
Yeah,
portion.
into the howling part.
So
I call it a howl. I don't know what it is. I mean,
yeah. So that's pretty interesting that you saw this thing just peeking over the fence, and the dogs were aware there was something there.
Oh yeah. So what happened was the reason I went back and it alerted. You know, it gives you that little alert, and you go back and look at something hit the house. Something. I mean, pow! Sound like a shotgun going off, and of course here I am. I'm looking outside. I can't see anything. You know, I mean. But I went back and I think that's what really convinced my wife that there was something going on, because at that point she was like, "Oh, you're just imagining things." And when she saw that head pop up and whatever that thing is and how big it is, and do you see the eyes on that thing?
Oh yeah,
That's what I'm talking about. The eyes on these things. She was, you know what? She had one of the best encounters out of all of us, because she walks outside one night about 8:30 to do something, and she's still not 100% bought in. And she said she looked over the fence right in the same spot, and she said she saw something standing there with red glowing eyes. Okay. And she said the thing never blinked, and she kept looking at it. And I said, "Well, what did it do?" She said, "Nothing. It was just looking at me." And she poked her head into the door, because the door was only 5 foot away, and says, "Hey, you need to come see this." And as soon as I got outside, I saw it, but it thin air, just vaporized in the thin air. Which I'm sure it probably ducked down or something, but I mean, and you have that picture of one of my friends worked for NASCAR in North Carolina. He actually took part of that video and isolated the picture where you can see something standing behind the fence, which would be, if you're gonna measure it, would probably be about 8 foot. Has a big head, long arms. I mean, so what else could it be?
Right. Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the fence. It's a 6 foot privacy fence, give or take 2 inches, because of
right
lift at the bottom of the fence and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that whatever that is a good 6 inches above the fence. So now you're looking at 6'8". You know
right.
what I mean? As a minimum standard of 6'8", and that's if it's just squatted down. You know what I mean? We don't
right.
know if it's standing full, at its full,
don't
height,
know.
or is it just crouched down, just looking over the fence. So very interesting.
I mean, I'll go back to what my wife says. Look, we're not trying to convince anybody anything. We're just trying to warn you. These things are out there. If you believe us, fine. If you don't, that's fine too. But at least just think of the possibility. And what would happen if you went into the woods? I always dreamed about this scenario, like a grandma and grandpa going out in the woods with some kids in a tent, and one of these things approach you. What would you do?
Oh yeah.
You have no defense.
I joke about that because I tell people all the time, because I've had encounters in the woods, especially while I'm sleeping in my tent, and it's funny how thin a tent is, but I feel so safe inside of it. It's crazy.
Or a sheet. a sheet over
I'm
your
like,
head. I mean,
thank God I'm in my tent, but
well,
that tent really ain't helpful.
and
What I mean?
getting back to what I was telling you about the local, I call look, and look. This is the bottom line. When I talked to him, I was trying to be courtesy. First Nations people, he said, no, we're Indians.
Mhm.
Bottom line, we are Indians. So he told me, he said, they do not have permission to touch you,
Hmm.
a human being. That's what he said. I don't know how but I mean, these people have been here a long time and they have cave drawings and they're, like I said, a squirrel is a squirrel and a Sasquatch is a Sasquatch and a car is a car. And you ain't going to tell them no different. I mean, they've been here, they dealt with them.
Yeah, there's not very many accounts of anybody having actual any level of physical contact with a Bigfoot. You know what I mean? I
Well,
mean, granted, you have I forget his name now, but the one guy that was in the sleeping bag that got carried off by a Bigfoot.
oh,
That
yeah.
that famous story.
Mm-hmm.
Osterman or Otter, I forget his name now.
Well,
It's been a while. But other than that, there's not too many. I mean, you get some accounts where a Bigfoot has reached under a tent and
mm-hmm.
lifted the tent up with a person in it. So I don't know if that'd be considered contact or not.
But,
But
well, I mean, how many times have you heard, man, this thing was running at me. I turned around and ran. And it was right behind me. It could have grabbed me anytime it wanted to and just head first into the ground 10 foot. Or what do they call it? A bull rush coming through, and all of a sudden it just stops. So
yeah,
why? I mean, maybe there is some valor to it. I don't know. I can only go by what these people are telling me. I mean, and they've been around a lot longer than we have.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that's had sightings that they're passive. I mean, it looks at them, they look at it, and they end up going off in
Right.
their own directions. They're not bludgeoned to death or attacked or anything like that. Now, granted, some are bluff charged, but I think those are certain accounts where a person's getting too close or there's a reason. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
yet they're still not harmed. The
Right.
person's still not harmed. Even when we look back at Eight Canyon, I always bring up Eight Canyon. If that story is true, and those guys were in this makeshift cabin, and these things are throwing boulders and rocks or whatever down on it and jumping on the roof and hitting it. I think those things were capable of ripping that cabin apart if they
Oh,
wanted
no
to.
question about
But
it.
but they didn't. See what I'm saying?
Right.
They didn't at all.
No. And then the story goes, they actually shot and killed one of them. So if they wanted, let's say, they're going to get their revenge, I mean, they could have just ripped the damn cabin board by board apart and just destroyed these. The only thing I've ever heard about somebody getting killed, and I think it was more like a dog man type situation, was what, LBL. These people were in a camper and their son was the only one. But can you actually go find a police report that says that?
Mhm.
Okay. So see,
Yeah.
that's where I'm at. I mean, like,
Yeah, I mean, and that's a big thing and that's what made shows, like this or Kerry Arnold or any other podcast valuable is the fact that a lot of people don't know where to go or what to do to discuss an encounter. You know what I
right.
mean? You can go to, your wildlife commission in that state, rangers, whatever, anybody who works in the force and stuff like that. You can even call your local sheriff's department. But how far does that report go after you walk away? It might go right into a circular file. It might go
Yeah.
somewhere where it's never seen again. See what I'm saying?
Right.
We had an account here where, and I read the account, and the guy really, I mean, wrote it. When he did his account with the, on the Bigfoot mapping project, and he said when he had mentioned it to the rangers of what his encounter was and what he saw,
Mm-hmm.
the very first thing they said was, "Oh, we got another one of these crazy guys." So he knew
Yeah.
once he handed in his report to them, it wasn't going anywhere. See what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's good to have outlets like this, and
Yeah.
we can
It,
have these discussions and talk about these things.
the only actual, and I'm just going to use Louisiana for an example because I live here. The only legit thing I've ever heard where there was a 911 call place was there were some kids from Houma, Louisiana that had just graduated high school. They were going to go up there, camp out, drink beer. Well, they're calling 911 and saying, hey, there's this 8-foot thing throwing rocks at us, intimidating us. And they were crying.
Mm-hmm.
Come get us. And so said, I didn't see it for myself, but there is an actual 911 call and a report.
Oh
And
yeah, there's that famous 911 call where the guy's talking on the phone. He's like, "Get out here now! This thing's got to
oh,
be 7 feet tall," and it killed his dog. I guess it killed his
yep,
dog.
I remember hearing that one too. I mean, so it's interesting. I mean, and for me, it just opened my mind up to a whole new realm. Like what? Okay, if this is real and nobody's saying anything about it, what else is that out there? That I mean, I'm pretty much convinced aliens are probably out there from what I've seen and
Right.
heard from the government and stuff. But and people say, well, why won't they acknowledge there is a 7-foot, 8-foot man-like creature running through the woods? And I asked off the record a Louisiana wildlife and fisheries agent why, and he said one word: liability. Because once you, what do you call it, acknowledge something exists, especially like a cougar. We don't have cougars in here in Louisiana, but people see them all the time and catch them, but they won't acknowledge that they're here. So as soon as you say, oh yeah, these creatures out here, but there's not a damn thing we can do about it, and someone gets attacked, which I just told you a while ago, the guy told me they're not supposed to touch you, or harassed or whatever. I think that's really what this, and a lot of people here don't report sightings because they're scared the government is going to come take their land.
Well, yeah, and we discussed that,
Mm-hmm.
where because we were talking about consequences and regulation and stuff like that, and that's one of the things. Now, I don't, and like I said, I don't necessarily think that they would take your land. It would still be considered your land in a technical
Right.
sense. But I think they would, if they acknowledge Bigfoot exists and it is an endangered species that needed protection, it needs its habitat, stuff like that, and it happens to be on my 1,000 acres, the government may step in and say, okay, you can't build on here. You can't do anything on this property. So I
Right.
own it, but I can't do anything with it because there's an endangered species on it. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or if the government wants to outright buy it, which they're probably pay 10 cents to the dollar, and then they purchase that land, and then they'll leave it alone. I think that's a big point in why it's not acknowledged by the government. Is because when they do that, it incorporates everything. It incorporates logging and different things.
Mm-hmm.
I think it becomes a very big issue.
Right.
Uh,
No, I mean, you got to understand, like, this goes into religion. This goes into,
oh yeah.
a whole lot of, you know, and you can ask me the famous question. So what do you think these things are? And I think I told you the other day, they are what they are.
Right.
Nobody knows.
Right.
They are, okay, God created me, created alligators, snakes, whatever. Maybe God did create these things. I don't know if they fell from heaven. I mean, what gives anybody indication that happened except a writing in the Bible, which, I'm probably going to make some people mad here, but I'm a religious person. I'm a Catholic. There's more history and proof for Bigfoot than there's the Bible.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far, because I'm a religious
Well,
guy, but I'm pretty solid on the Bible. But I think an FBI agent that was interviewed one time made the perfect comment. He said, "There is enough evidence of Bigfoot that if it was used in the courts today, you would be convicted."
yeah,
See what I'm
I
saying?
think you're right. I mean,
So that adds a lot. That there is enough evidence. There's even Dr. Jeff Meldrum said to comment one time that there is enough evidence that warrants an investigation. It warrants money being spent, on this topic. And
but here, this is what I'm thinking. Do they need our protection? Seems like they're doing just fine without us.
well, I mean, that's always been a good point on both sides, and I've heard the point. But if anybody lives in Florida, we're growing at a massive rate. We really do wish people would stop moving here. I mean, really, we joke about it
Yeah,
and say, "Hey,
it's closed.
Georgia's the new Florida. Y'all should go there or something." We're losing land so quickly,
Right.
and then they just passed this thing. They want to build like 18 new golf courses throughout the state of Florida. That all this stuff. So this is land that we are losing. It's gone.
Hmm.
So yeah, I do think they're endangered. I think they are endangered here, and I think that we gain 1 million residents a year in the state of Florida, and we're pushing them out. You know what I mean? Because we're not,
Right.
for some reason, Florida ain't growing upward; it's growing outward.
Right.
So people are buying property, buying land, and and I think that's where the issue is, and that's why I think Florida has, it's ranked third in the nation for sightings. But look what it's compared to: Northern California and Washington, which has a ton of forested area. How come Florida ranks third when there's so many other states that has a lot of forests? Well, I
Yeah.
think it's because of humans um, taking up all the land, and so
Hmm.
when you do that, you're going to have more sightings. People are going to see these things more
Yeah.
often.
You moving in
Yeah.
on them.
So now, that's what I'm saying is, that's a big thing for me is conservation and conservation for any animal, really.
Hmm.
If if I found something rare on a property that I research, I'd want that property protected to protect whatever species is out there.
Right.
And but I think that's the major thing is conservation, and things are in place. A lot of people don't realize that. I've put it on here before where we talk about the hunting regulations that mentions the
Yeah.
state of Florida
And
that
yes.
you can't shoot a skunk ape or anything like that.
Right.
Um, that's in there for a reason. It's not a
Well,
joke.
yeah.
I don't
No.
I don't foresee the state printing and creating a website and all this on our taxpayer funded money for a
Hmm.
joke, to put things
No.
in as a joke. I think it's in there as a cover your butt type situation, because if I were to shoot one and kill one and think I'm going to get famous and drag it out of the woods and say, "Hey, look, I got one," they can hold that up and go, "Well, see, it says right here you're not supposed to do that." And
Right.
now I can see prison time or a serious, financial penalty, and then they can say, "But Rick, if you keep your mouth shut,
Yeah. It's
you
just a
won't see
bear.
you won't see jail time, and you won't have to pay us X amount of dollars. Just keep your mouth shut." You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
It.
You know?
And we were talking about this the other night too. I mean, these things are and we got into a really good conversation about that. I mean, I told you about the stick incidents where they would go and I kept finding these sticks stuck up in the ground, like, in my yard. And one night I was just dumb luck. I was just out there and I was like, how are these sticks? They can't be falling from the trees like that. My
Right.
dogs can't be playing with stick. So I went outside and I was just looking around and I just happened to notice on the left side of the stick, black, no light. Right side of the stick, light. Now, can a bear do that?
Anything that's doing it has to have thumbs.
Some kind of, well, intelligence too, to be able to set a perimeter, a grid. That's basically what they were doing. So this is a light. This is not the light. Don't go past this stick because you're going to be in a light. That's how they operate, in the cover, like Navy SEALs, in the cover of darkness.
Right.
That's why I'd see shadows. I never would see a full body. I mean, they're slick, man. They are slick.
Oh
Well, I
yeah.
told.
We talked about that. They're very good at their environment. This
Did I
is their
tell you?
environment.
Well, yeah. I mean, you are in there because you were put there by them knocking down woods and building subdivisions, draining swamps, building them up right where these things lived. People complain about the coyotes running through the yards and the neighborhoods. Well, yeah, because you built neighborhoods right on top of their territory where they lived. So the black bears. We even had that conversation. The black bears. The black bears. We have a lot of black bears. In fact, we talked about it was the first year for a hunting season here because there are so many, and we're moving in on them. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's just you can't do anything about it. I mean, civilization's not going to stop.
Well, yeah, it's like here Florida this past year opened up a hunting season for black bear. And it's because our numbers have skyrocketed. We're over 4,000, we're only 67 counties in the state of Florida, and we have over 4,000 black bears. Over 4,000. I don't know what the exact number is. It's probably getting close to 5,000, but it's a lot of bears. It's over 4,000. And with us constantly building, removing the land, these bears have no place to go.
Right.
And where I live, there's this neighborhood I have to pass through. Once I leave my area, and I had to pass through this one short area with this like 5 or 6 duplexes. That's all that's on that road. 5 or 6 duplexes.
Mm-hmm.
And they were getting their trash cans destroyed every trash day because the bears. And I drive through there and I'll see a bear run across the street and stuff like that. That never happened before. See what I'm saying? That never happened.
Mm-hmm.
And from their homes to downtown is less than 2 minutes.
Oh yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not far. That's driving 2 minutes. So they're getting closer and closer. They're in residential areas. They're causing damage and stuff like that. It's only a matter of time before somebody's harmed, somebody's hurt.
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
that's what I fear. Especially when it comes to the Sasquatch is, as time runs out and they're running out of resources. See what I'm saying? Because when we take the land, we're taking all the resources too. So who knows what's going to happen?
When all this started, looking back on it, right before all this happened, the activity started, we had a massive flood here. It rained for like 4 days. And when I'm telling you it rained, pouring down, never stopped. A lot of houses flood. The swamp was just underwater. And I think maybe they got moved to higher ground because where we lived, we basically lived on an old ridge, which I never told my wife it's actually an earthquake fault, but I never told her that. So either that or somebody brought up one time, at that same time, the deer had that wasting disease.
Right.
So I don't know if they were looking for another source of food or just trying to stay alive, because I had a whole brand new bag of 50 pounds of dog food just go missing. I mean, now if it would have been a raccoon, a bear, they would have just ripped it to shreds and started eating it right there. But I mean, it's almost like somebody picked it up, carried it off. Both fences are locked. You got 6-foot high fences. So if somebody wanted that dog food, a person, they really wanted it bad and they had to work for it.
Right.
So that's why
that's a common thing. There's been a lot of accounts where, people that keep dog food in containers outside and stuff like that. Reports of Sasquatch coming in and eating the dog food. I remember watching this one where the guy was complaining that he knew something was up because he'd buy a 50-pound bag of dog food from the feed store, and I think he was keeping them in trash cans. And 3 days later, it's empty.
Yeah.
3 days, 50-pound bag. 3 days later,
yeah.
He was out buying more. And he gets with the wife and says, "What the heck? What's going on here?" And then he strapped it down, and he would come out, check it, and the straps were removed, and the food was gone again. But the straps weren't broke; they were
Right.
strategically
They were
removed.
just
They were,
moved.
you know what I mean? They removed them.
Hmm.
So evidently, I mean, hey, I hear a lot of researchers. We use peanut butter and stuff like that. Maybe we should start using some,
Dog
dog
food.
food. Get some
maybe they
Alpo out there.
maybe they think it's like a treat. I mean,
Yeah.
but there is a lot of nutrients in dog food. I mean, a person can live off of dog food if you had to.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
all my dogs have been very, very strong and muscular because I go to the feed store instead of a regular grocery store, and I get high
hmm
protein, the highest protein level dog food that they have,
yeah.
and
I mean,
it makes your coat look great. They're strong, they're
hmm
muscular. Yeah. So if you're feeding that to something else, I mean, their digestive system's different than mine for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes me wonder how one of these things, it probably could have sat there and ate 50 pounds of dog food in one sitting.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what I saw, I mean, because how much do these things have to eat to stay alive? I mean, these
Right.
things are huge. I think that's what people don't understand. When people say, well, how big was it? Explain to, okay, everybody right now, look at your front door. All right. The front door coming into your house. This thing was wider than the front door and taller than the front door. Now, could you imagine meeting up at this thing with you and your grandkids and your wife in a tent? So I think somebody needs to come up with a handbook, even if it's not official, some kind of protocol. Here, if you encounter one of these things, this is what you do. They have it for every other animal. Why
Yeah,
not?
but to do that, you have to be right. You have to say this works,
Well,
and which means a long-term study of these animals to understand behavior and stuff like
yeah,
that. It's like a
you're
Jane
right.
Goodall situation, where you document what pisses them off, what doesn't piss them off, how you're supposed to react around them, and who knows if we'll ever get to that point. You know what I mean? Um,
I don't know.
I think that the universal thing is to raise your hands and back away. Just back away.
Pretty much,
And I
yeah.
and I think universally with most animals, they see that as as you're moving away, that it's a
Well,
retreat. So
and a lot of people say don't look them in the eyes. But going back to the Native American guy, he told me, he said, "Oh, absolutely not. You look them right in the eye, and then you back up because they want to know what your intentions are. You can tell a lot from a person's eyes."
right,
And he said, "No, don't don't look away. Look right at their eyes because they want to know what you're thinking, what you're doing." And he said, "You can tell a lot from yourself from just a person's eyes."
right, right, absolutely. So where do you stand now? Are you still living in that same home?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
not anymore. No, I
Have you
live
ever gone
probably
back to see who lives there and see if they're having anything happen?
no, but my neighbor, my poor neighbor, uh, she would never buy into it. Never heard anything like that howling video. I was like, Donna, how can you not hear that? I mean, I played it for her. She's like, no, we never heard anything. Okay. Well, one day she texted me and said, hey, what them, and I got to use the accent, what them things look like? And I said, Donna, they usually 6'7", around here, 6, 7 foot tall. And I said, they're black as night. And I said, when you see one, you're gonna know it. It's not a bear. It's not this, not that. And I said, why? Why did you see one? Oh, no, no. I'm just asking. And I said, well, why are you just asking? She said, well, my little dog, they had a little fluffy dog. Every night she would let it out about 8 o'clock and it'd stay out there about an hour, do its business, and she said, my dog won't even go in the backyard anymore. It cries. It doesn't want to go in the backyard. I was
Right.
like, well, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it probably is a duck.
Yeah. Yeah, because it would be interesting to find out whoever's living in that home, have they experienced anything or, stuff like that,
Well, and here's the thing, like most people, you wouldn't even know unless you talk to somebody who had some kind of experience, you wouldn't even know what the signs were.
Right.
You know, the knocks and the grunts, and because you're living on the edge. I mean, our subdivision was like on the outskirts. You know, like yeah, we could be in town in 10 minutes, but we were still out.
Right.
And so if you don't know all those songs, we like us, we always wrote it off as a neighbor kids, you know, acting up, banging around at night, 2:30, 3 o'clock at night, you know, and just it's easy to write stuff off like that, you know. Just be aware. Just be aware of your surroundings. I tell my daughter that all the time. Look, if you go, don't well, first of all, don't ever go to Walmart at night. But if you have to go somewhere, be aware of your surroundings. Look around. Who's around there? Who's sitting in the car watching you? Park right next to the building. You know, I mean, just be aware.
Right. Absolutely. And that's what we do with the Bigfoot thing is just let them know that, you know, be aware that even if you're agnostic, I mean, you're this one of these people, I mean, because you're always going to have the skeptic who says it don't exist. I ain't worried about it. I can do whatever. It don't exist. But even if you're agnostic, where you think that, okay, I don't think it exists, but I think there's a possibility, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if we found one, that type of person, you know, let them know, you know, it's the idea of that when you go in the woods, just be aware, just know that if it happens, you know what I mean, don't be shocked, you know what I mean?
Listen, yeah, exactly.
Scared. You know,
But yeah,
I think we're all going to
yeah. No. And you know, people say, well, you know, other people like when they have encounters in the woods, why you didn't take your camera out and take a picture? Believe me, that is the absolute last thing you are thinking about. Hey, I need to take my phone out and take a picture.
Yeah, and people need to understand that it is really difficult. I've done it where I'm holding the phone and I literally walked within 3 feet of a buck bedded down in this tall grass.
Mm-hmm.
And he jumped up, looked at me, and took off. And there's no way, with the phone in my hand,
you could have got
was
a
I
picture.
able to get the camera on and take a photograph of. By that, he's gone. He's in the woods.
Right.
And it doesn't take long. I mean, you could walk 10 feet and you disappear in the woods. I've done that test many times in the woods to show people you just disappear. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The foliage is too thick.
You could be wearing fluorescent orange and be 5 foot, especially here, like where you're at, be fluorescent orange, fully dressed in fluorescent orange, go 5 foot, and you can't even see yourself.
Yeah.
Or anybody else can see you.
Yeah, especially if you all of a sudden stand still. You don't move.
Yes.
It's hard to see something when it's not moving.
No.
That's what I tell people. You'll see movement before you see color.
Yes.
But it was like the other night was the first time that I saw SpaceX. You know, the satellites. You know, I've seen them separated, but this was the one that you see where it looks like a shooting star, and I saw that for the first time. And by the time I could get my phone and I wanted to film it, it was already gone.
It's gone.
You know, so you know, catching things on film is very difficult, and people need to understand that. But we try it. That's all I'm about. That when I'm out in the woods, I'm only videoing. I'm not taking photographs and stuff.
And you're probably past the point of trying to prove something to somebody. Like, you know, I'm not going to convince you ever that these things are real. All I can do is just do research for myself and compare notes with like me and Johnny. And okay, these things do this here. What do they do here? Like I told you about the 4-bore whistle. These old boys in Missouri had recorded. I had the same damn thing recorded.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it's important to document these things, because you start seeing similarities all over the place. There are some similarities.
Well, like I told you, it's the same thing but different. You know, I mean, it's a lot of the same actions, routines, but it just depends on like one between probably, you know, in Florida andLouisiana, they probably pretty much act the same because they're in the same terrain.
So. I think if you're in the southern states, it's safe to say they're all skunk apes, or southern Bigfoot is probably more accurate. You know, thinner. You know, like I think the average height is between 6 and 7 feet.
Yeah,
You know,
that's I
all
would
the
agree
accounts
with
that
that.
I've heard in the interviews that we've done, especially the southern ones. I mean, they're narrower, they're thinner, they're tall. They're
Yeah,
like a basketball player, thin,
right.
muscular, but and
Yes,
tall, but
exactly.
you know, wide
No,
shoulders, but they don't have that thick barrel chest. You know what I mean? Like,
no, 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 no.
you hear about the
Yeah.
Pacific Northwest where it was just from chest to back was 3 feet. Well, that's
Mm-hmm.
huge. 3 feet. That's huge for something to be that thick.
Well, one of the first things Kerry, when we got to talking about the footprint, he was like, "Well, yeah." He said, "I think that's a skunk ape," and I said, "Well, what's the difference between a Bigfoot foot and a skunk ape foot, and this foot and that foot?" And he said, "The skunk ape has a little curve in the heel, and you can clearly see that on the cement." And I think it's more because they're in a swampy water terrain. I think they have to have good footing. I mean, come on, man. You walked across the marsh and sunk up to your ass many
Yeah.
times, just like I have. And these things weigh over 300 pounds. Like, you have to have a totally different weight distribution than we do,
Yeah.
unless you levitate. I don't know.
Yeah. Pretty much, I think that when we interview a lot of people, and me and Johnny talk to a lot of people, and me and Icebox and stuff, it seems like the common denominator on foot size for these things is 15 inches. 15 seems to be the number you hear the most. I mean, you'll get a 16, you get a 15 and a half, but somewhere around there. But a 15
Right.
inch is just always, all I said is, and I've done it. I've gone out in the woods, I found some great prints, measured them, 15 inches. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but is that an adult? You know, I'm
We
assuming it
don't
is since
know.
that's the most common
Well,
size down here. Now, granted, you go up north and stuff like that. I mean, they're getting 18 inches and stuff like that. I believe, and I have a casting of the Patterson Gimlin, and I think it's 16 inches, and she was
the-
only between 6'4", 6'6".
well, mine was 17, but I maybe not didn't measure it right because
Right,
look, I was dumb as a rock to all this.
right.
This still blows my mind to this day when my mind's idle and I'm just like, did this really happen?
Oh, there's bigger sizes. I'm just saying, on average, I'd
No, but
say
I
it's
I, I get what you're saying because I hear that a lot around here too.
yeah.
That size, that rank.
So, were you having activity there up until you left, or did it subside, or what? Because you've got some
Okay.
great footage, but did that continue? Was that a regular until you
Well,
left, or it just kind of
Here,
faded away?
here's a. I'm glad you reminded me of that because here's a good tip for everybody who's having activity like this at their house. They tell you to put up lights. Lights don't do a damn thing. They'll just stay out the light. What you need to do is, and this guy, same guy, Native American guy, Indian guy, told me this. Get you 4 pieces of the rustiest rebarb you can find. Go to Home Depot. Don't pick the shiny new one. Get the rustiest one you can. Go on all 4 corners of your property and drive that thing in the ground. I'm not talking about level with the ground. I'm talking about 2 or 3 inches underneath the ground. And he said, these things feel everything with their feet. So, and I've actually heard of people doing this for oak trees and stuff, big oak trees. They'll drop so the tree can absorb the iron. So his theory was these things are walking your property, and as soon as this iron starts getting into the ground, they're going to know something's not right, and they're not going to come back there.
Hmm. I've never
That
heard that. That's
was
pretty interesting.
that's it. That was, and you know what? I tried it, and it actually did work. So now, long term, I don't know, but I mean, try it. If you have an
Right.
activity around your house, you want to run them off, and cameras doesn't work, lights don't work, go get you some rusty rebarb, the
Right.
rustiest stuff you can find.
Yep, right on. All right, so good interview. I mean, it's really interesting. I think if I had caught footage like that, something creeping and looking over my fence, I probably wouldn't be able to sleep after that.
Oh
So
no,
I'd be
no.
waiting for. I'd be on alert all the time, waiting for
Well,
somebody to crawl over that fence, and I'd shoot them.
well,
Um,
my strategy was, and this is a dream I kept having, is I would wake up and this damn thing was standing in my bedroom window. I mean, in my doorway, my bedroom, and I'm thinking, dreaming, because I've seen them move. I know how fast they are. I had a loaded 12 gauge shotgun with buckshot, and I knew if that thing came after me, there was no way I could grab that shotgun, even though it was right here, and fire off a shot. But it's the only thing I had. And me and Carrie was talking about, Carrie on was talking about, I said, aim for the eyes. You're not going to do a damn thing hitting it in the chest, head, or whatever. Aim for the eyes. You might get lucky and blind it.
yep.
Then you might have a chance, you know?
Well, yeah, I tell people all the time. I mean, some people say, "Well, 9 millimeter is not enough." The thing is all I got to do is make it hurt. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get, I don't care how big you are, an elephant. You shoot a 9 millimeter into them, it causes pain, and it's just that moment of pain that I can hopefully dodge out and get out of there. But yeah, I would highly recommend. Well, I recommend, but in my sense, I'm not really fearful of these things. I don't think they're out to harm us at all. But I think if you were being attacked by one, you probably want the largest caliber as you can, so you can end that confrontation as quickly as possible.
Right.
And something that you could put as much lead down range as possible. So
yeah. Because I'm telling you, man, you know for yourself. I mean, you've seen these things. You don't stand a chance. The only chance you might, I think they know what a gun is, and I've heard many stories about these things. They said the only thing that saved my butt was I had a rifle or I had a gun, and the thing knew what a gun was, because they watch us. They watch us in the woods. They watch us put up camera traps, and that, to me, you put out game cameras. What happens? They watch the deer. They take pictures of deer. You come back. You kill the deer. So why won't a Sasquatch go by one? If there was this road right here in front of my house, every time somebody drove down it, they got shot and killed. How many people would drive down it? To me, it's common sense, you know. Or and I think they're that smart.
So we're getting to the end of it. Is there anybody in the chat room that has a specific question for Carl before we go? Yeah, Mike Nation just jumped in. Good to see you, Mike. What do you say? Mike says, "Hi, everybody. Michigan cryptids got a really good video of how fast these creatures were. Cryptids or Bigfoot, super fast. Very confusing statement there, Mike. I'm not sure if you're talking about a website or a YouTube channel. I'm not really sure. Very active group that today. Especially Lori Ladd. Shoes, Icebox. He's here. Tennessee, Kentucky. He was. He's a good guy. He's always involved. So, and then we had some great people in today. Like I said, you're on the cell phone, so you can't see the questions, and I'm putting stuff on the screen, and you can't see it.
No,
that's why I say that's one of the downfalls of using a cell phone when you do this is you lose a lot of what we're doing and stuff like that. But so I'm going to put this up there. This is Cryptic Crystal. I know her. Does he post his stuff anywhere?
Yes, I have a. Well, it's not really active anymore because I don't post any new stuff. It's called LA Swamp 8 on YouTube.
LA Swamp 8.
LA Swamp 8. And Carrie was the one suggested that name. So you can go watch videos, see what you think. I mean,
and I've got the videos that I used were off the Travel Channel. It was off, correct?
Yes, but I do have the raw footage, the camera footage of the howling video. So if you want to take that and study that more, I can send it to you. I mean, I think I did.
Right. Icebox wanted to know if he could play one of your guitars.
Sure. I mean, do we have time?
No, he's saying he wants to play. He says, "Can I
Oh,
play
he
one of
wants to
those
play.
guitars?" Yeah.
Well, yeah, come on. Yeah, I have plenty.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to introduce you to that Icebox. He's a good guy. He also has a podcast called Dirt Road Bigfoot. So
Okay.
yeah, he's it's out of Alabama really. I'm gonna say he lives in
Oh,
Indiana, but he's an Alabama boy.
okay.
But yeah, good guy, great guy, one of my closest friends.
So he's a redneck like us. What you saying?
Yeah, but for some reason,
Down there.
he likes living up there in the snow instead of coming down here
Oh
in the
Lord,
south where it's
man.
warm. I don't know.
Hey,
I don't know.
to each his
So,
own, huh?
well, Carl, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you being a part of the show. We've gotten a lot
Sure.
of opportunity to talk and everything, and you got my number. So if you ever come
Yep.
across anything new or anything like that, because I know you don't live in that area anymore. But if
Right.
you end up, having any kind of further interactions or anything like that, feel free to give me a call. But I'm available
Okay.
anyways. If you're bored and just want to talk Bigfoot, give me a call sometime.
Okay. I
But
appreciate it. And you do the same.
oh yeah. I keep everybody's number. I got a pretty big
Okay.
Rolodex, if you want to call it that nowadays. But
Yeah.
pretty big directory of a lot of Bigfoot people and people that have had encounters. So I'm always here for them. I
Well,
let them
good.
all know. Keep my number, in case something new happens, or if you want to,
And
talk, or if they have questions and stuff like that.
and look,
Um,
let me say this before we end the show. There's nothing to be embarrassed about or ashamed of if you've seen one of these things. If you don't want to come out publicly and say that you've seen one, that's perfectly fine because I understand it, the ridicule and everything. Oh, he's faking this. Okay. But let somebody know, like Richard, me, whoever, that, hey, I did see something. I don't know, have any idea, because it does help to talk about it.
oh, it does.
It
does.
absolutely does. When you validate somebody else has gone through the same thing that you've gone through, it helps. It really does help. So don't ever be afraid. It's like having a mental illness. If you have whatever, go get it treated. There's no reason, you shouldn't. Same thing. Get help. Just you can do it behind the scenes. You don't have to come out where people will ridicule you. Please
Right.
do that.
Yep, good advice. And a lot of people have commented they remember your interview with Carrie Arnold, so that's really cool.
Okay.
So and then some people have said they subscribe to your channel, so you might see that you have some new
Okay.
subscribers on your thing. So that might motivate you to get out there and start getting out in the woods and putting up some content so people can see what Carl's doing.
Well,
and
you know what? I'll go out in the woods with 3 or 4 of us, but I'm never going back by myself,
right,
especially unarmed. There's no way. I mean, nah.
Yeah,
From
I
what
go
I
out a lot
saw.
by myself. I don't recommend it, but when you don't have friends, you got to do it by yourself. So,
Well, hey, you got to do what you got to do, but
Yeah.
just be careful. And I mean, so I'm not preaching to the choir here.
Right.
What to expect.
Yeah, I feel pretty confident when I'm out there.
Good.
All right, Carl.
All right.
So
Well,
it was good having you, and I
Yeah.
hope you have a great rest of the week and a weekend. God bless you and everybody around you, and we'll be talking again soon.
okay. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
So Richard, you are just nuts. Why am I nuts? Why am I nuts? Why am I
Hey,
got to do that?
I told you that from day one. There's no way in hell I would go look for these things. No. No.
And I'm not lying, Lori. I honestly, I don't have friends. I have nobody that'll go out in the woods with me. And I live, I got friends I can hook up with, make phone calls, and we can meet up and go out and stuff like that. But as in walking out my door and driving over to a buddy's house and say, hey, let's head in the woods, I don't have that. So, so I have to do it by myself. So, and it sucks sometimes, but you get used to it, and I do like the peace and quiet sometimes. I like that mental recharge in my head. So I really
Yeah.
enjoy the wood. I really enjoy the woods. All right. Well, Carl, talk to you later, and
Okay, man.
and you take care of yourself. And like I said, God bless, and we'll be in touch soon.
Okay. I appreciate it, buddy. Good talking to you.
All right, buddy.
All right. Later.
Bye. Well, guys, it was a great show. You guys are awesome. The chat room is always amazing. I'm sitting here watching the chats, and I'm sorry if I don't get to everybody, but it's a little bit easier when Johnny's here because Johnny can be asking questions while I pay more attention to the board. But it was great. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Lori. You're awesome. It was a great time to talk to him. I've had a lot of conversations with Carl in the last couple of weeks, and just all around good guy. Not sure what happened with Johnny. I'm going to make some phone calls. He's got me a little bit worried. He is my buddy, and I want to make sure him and his family are healthy and happy. So as soon as I get off here, I'm going to call and make sure he's okay. We do have some other shows coming up. We're back to that regular schedule. It might be every other week. So stand by. I always post the upcoming guest, and so we got some good shows coming up. Some good stuff coming up. We got what's his name? Les Odell from West Virginia. He'll be coming on soon. Might be next. I'm not sure. But good times. God bless each and every one of you guys. You guys have a fantastic weekend. I got to go because I got to go to work. Talk to you later, guys. God bless.